Paul Podolsky stopping by our studios. He's the Director of Faribault Parks and Recreation Department. You still in charge of the whole Buckham Center complex, Paul?
Yes.
Okay. I put a picture of the library up on the website. That's why I was hoping I was accurate there.
Yep. Actually, the library and the community center, but the senior center is its own separate 501c3. So we share walls and space, but they are their own organization. So I don't do much of anything with the senior center except for help out with some of their maintenance issues.
Yeah, and they are expanding. They're hopefully expanding. November 10th, I'll be emceeing the big banquet down at the Legion. We're looking forward to it.
Yep, they've been working hard at getting this entire process put together, and they're all doing some soliciting now, but the big general public soliciting will begin on that November 10th date. I know they're hitting other donors up right now to try and have kind of a jump start on that particular date, and they've been working hard and they're really looking forward to it, and I think it would be a great addition down there to the entire Buckham Center.
Yeah, I met with the ladies in charge of the fundraising out of Winona, the company that they hired to help them with the fundraising, and boy, they really know their stuff.
They do. They've done a lot of fundraising. They've worked for a lot of different communities, helping them with different amenities here and there, and they've done a nice job getting this whole thing organized. I know it's been a lot of extra work on Mona Kaiser, the director there, because when you come in as a group like they are, you know, they know what they want, but you have to round everything up that they want to make sure that everything is in place. So they've got a lot of information that they put together, been working on this. I'm guessing Mona's been working on it for more than a year already, and committees have been working since probably the middle of the summer and getting everything put together and ready to go for it. So
yeah, they're very organized. So we're looking forward to that November 10th event. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It should be a lot of fun. They're hoping for a big crowd at that one. I think they're trying to set up 40 tables of 10, I think is what their goal is on that particular one. So
it's a free event.
So. It's a free event. You just need to pre-register through the senior center to get there so they know whose table and stuff you're going to be sitting at and get all that lined up. So if you're out there and interested in being part of that, certainly contact the senior center and get your name on their list.
And I'm looking forward to it. Should be a ton of fun. Some of the things we're talking about doing, it's going to be fun. I guarantee it. So you want to be there, Paul. Bring your lovely bride.
I will try and do that. I will be there. So I believe my wife has to work that night already. We already looked at our schedule.
Well, that's a bummer.
So it's a bummer for that, and a double bummer. It's her birthday on top of it. So
no kidding.
We'll have to find another way to celebrate that week this year.
Yeah, I tell you what we could do. We could, you know, with today's cell phones are turned into video machines. We could all do a selfie video singing happy birthday to your wife.
Well, we could. She'd probably be a little embarrassed that I even said anything.
Right from the Legion. What do you think?
Sounds cool to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like you say, I don't know if she'd like that. Anyway, we wanted to touch on Paul led a group of lawmakers in town. How long ago was that?
That was, I believe, I think it was in mid-September, or was it in mid-August?
No, September sounds right.
It's mid-September, I believe they were here then.
Maybe it was mid-August.
I don't remember. It's been a little while now, though, so.
Well, the time flies. Seems like yesterday to me, though.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago that we had you, we were bringing you back to the start point.
I got to jump on the bus, forget about us, and put the blame on John.
Yeah, that was interesting. We took them to two different sites. We showed them both the Milltowns Trail and we showed them the Northern Links Trail, the piece that comes out of North Alex and connects back up at Hewlett. So it was a good probably half hour that we spent with them. I think we had got a lot of information off to them and presented that to them. And
gee, I thought it was less than that, to be honest, Paul. So, they weren't in town very long.
No, they weren't in town real long at all. They were behind schedule and they just kind of kept knocking their watches to let us know that they were on a time frame here, trying to get back on schedule. So
I was amazed at how quick it was.
Yeah, they probably only spent, 5 to 10 minutes at each of the two sites, plus the drive between them. So
they drive all the way from the Twin Cities. Well, that's not all the way. It's not that. But I mean, they were on other stops. They went to Austin that day and Rochester before they came here.
Yeah, I believe they were in Austin before our stop.
Maybe even Winona.
I think they started in Winona but went to Austin. And then I believe the stop before us was Austin.
Okay. In any event, think about this, and they spent less than a half hour here in Faribault.
Yep. And then they had another stop to go to yet after our stop that day.
Paul Podolsky's with us. He's the director of Faribault's Parks and Recreation Department, in charge of the Buckham Center, and we're talking a bit about an event that happened here about 6 weeks or so ago.
Yep.
Maybe 2 months.
pretty exciting. The legislators came, a number of legislators came to town, and one of our local legislators met them there, Brian Daniels, and we just talked to him about the importance of both the Milltowns Trail that will connect at White Sands and go up to 17th Street. We also talked about the Northern Link Trail, which comes out of North Alexander Park and connects back up at Hewlett, so it'll get us underneath the railroad tracks up there. As part of that tour, the legislative committee went back and they are recommending to go into the state bonding bill both of those sections of trail, which are huge for us here. You know, we're looking, the Milltowns Trail had already, through a Department of Transportation grant, generated a little over half the funding that they were going to need. So this finished off for that particular project, and then they were also looking at putting into the bonding bill the entire cost of our section of local trail there that will connect. I look at it as a huge regional asset. I mean, it'll not only connect the west side of Faribault to the east side safely, so you're not having to go underneath that bridge on Highway 3 there, but it also will connect the local people on the trail system off on the Cicada Trail, and you can get all the way to Mankato right now, and you'll also be able to, in the near future, hopefully connect onto the Milltowns and get yourself up to Northfield and hopefully eventually all the way to Cannon Falls.
So the plan is to go around the bridge on 3?
No, it would be to go, right now that's what they're doing, is they're going around, and we would go underneath the railroad tracks, so we would not have to go underneath that bridge anymore on Highway 3 there. So, right coming out of North Alexander Park there, you look like I confused you there, Gordy.
Well, I'm trying to picture this in my mind.
It's the railroad bridge that goes across Highway 3.
Right.
Right now, people have to go underneath that bridge.
I know, it's crazy. There's not much room there.
Yeah, and our plan is to not go underneath that bridge, but to put a culvert in underneath the railroad track, similar to what's underneath 3 and 21 right now, where you get that, so they go underneath that. So that's kind of where the trail that goes through North Alex that was finished this summer, that's where it goes to. It stops just out there, and if you go riding down on the trail, you get to an end, and you just got to kind of stop and go back. And where it stops right there, that's where we would go underneath the railroad tracks and then catch up and meet up at Hewlett. So it's only about 2/10 of a mile in distance, but it's an expensive 2/10 of a mile because of the railroad tracks there.
Yeah, the lawmakers genuinely seemed very interested in the Highway 321 underpass.
I think they truly enjoyed that there. They were happy to see how that all came out. There was some bonding fund in that. There was some federal funds in that. So there was a lot of different funding sources for that particular project. Plus the timing of the entire interchange being rebuilt really worked to our advantage on getting those particular projects in. On the Milltowns piece, that's going to go down to 17th Street. It will include an additional pedestrian bridge adjacent to the traffic bridge, the car bridge there on where you cross the Straight River there coming through. So it'll be great to have a separate off road trail for users there. So looking forward to all of that. You know, hopefully the bonding bills go through and get approved, and then we'll be able to move forward from there and try and get the last parts of both of these here completed, and then from there we'll be working on some additional local links to get people onto the trail system from different parts of town and stuff. So,
and that's the exciting news that you have, is that the House Bonding Committee that came for that short visit to Faribault has informed you that they are including
that in their
request.
In their state request, yep. So it's only the first hurdle. There's several more hurdles to come, but it certainly is a big one to get to this point here. So we're excited for that. So
well, if you don't make the cut of the committee, you're not going to get into the bonding package.
That's correct. You've got to
really
get
tugging the governor's ear.
Yeah, or have some real power up there that's really going to push this through. So our local legislators are certainly on board with this, and we're really excited to be able to move forward with it.
And as you said, it's essential for the whole region, not just Faribault.
Yeah, it benefits the entire region. It's bigger than just Faribault. It'll bring, with the connections that are made here, it'll bring people that are on the Cicada Trail the opportunity to get onto our trail and actually get themselves to the downtown area, so there's economic benefits. It takes you up directly to some of the hotels in the community, so you've got people who may be able to come in, stay at the hotels overnight, and do some biking during the day. So there's different options out of this, and it's pretty exciting to see the trail system slowly start coming together. There's also a little bit of talk. There is a third state trail that's going to be coming to Faribault at some point, and that is the Prairie Wildflower Trail, and that actually comes up, I believe it comes up originally from Austin, but the main part we're concerned with is between Owatonna and Faribault. Come up At this point here, both Steele County and Rice County have done a rail authority, and that would allow us at first crack that the railroad abandons to acquire that property and have the trail that runs between those two communities. So it's already a designated state trail, which was the very first hurdle to get to. The problem with that one is there is not an active group right now working towards getting that accomplished.
And
so
that's what you need.
We'll need to get that up and going. The Milltowns Trail that's between Faribault and Northfield is a joint powers board, and so we'd have to look at how we would want to form a board for the Prairie Wildflower and get something up and going with that particular one. I know that Medford is on board with this. They're excited, and they've asked for some meetings, so we need to try and get ourselves together and figure out what's the best avenue to take to get that section of trail up and going as well too. So if we could get that one in there and Faribault becomes the hub of 3 state trails, you'll see a lot of additional trail traffic coming through, which would be great for economic development in the community as well.
I know you're not the street guy.
Correct.
But do you know where...
And they're done that though.
Yeah, that's right, you have, haven't you? I know you're not the street guy, but do you know where they're sitting in the bike lanes in the city conversation? I know there was talk of it, and then they went by the wayside. Now there's kind of resurrected the talk on it, right?
Yeah, I believe there's been the conversation of trying to come across from Highway 21 down 7th Street until you get, I think it's Lincoln Street, the street just on the east side of Lincoln School, and then coming down to about 6th Street. And they are looking at doing I believe, I'm not sure if it's an overlay or if it's a seal coating in the next summer. And when they get done with that, then they would go through and stripe and sign that section of the road. So it's a couple block area that'll sign that. Other than that, the trail will go down a couple of the roads, but they're not going to require painting on those roads because the volume is low enough according to all the different rules and regulations out there. So our engineering department's been working hard on trying to figure out how this can all come together for them. And I believe that's the last that I heard is going to come down 7th there next summer.
The whole length of 7th?
Nope, just those couple of blocks from Highway 21 to the east side of Lincoln Elementary School, and then it'll take a right and get onto one of the lesser used. It's either 5th or 6th Street, and to be honest, I can't remember which of the 2 streets it's going to go down.
Oh, okay.
So
I will be curious to see how that all works out.
I'm sure we'll hear more about that in the future as we keep talking trails and accesses through the community.
Right. I'm glad to hear it's not going all the way down 7th Street.
Yeah, no, 7th is a little bit too
traffic.
busy. Yeah, it's too busy of an area to run it any further than we absolutely have to. So that was the one direction we could get to get that completed. And hopefully in a couple of years, if we can get these other sections of trail done, you'd have the other option. It might be a little bit farther, but when you're out for a bike ride, to swing up and go underneath 3 and 21 and come back to the downtown area to access that, that'll be just as popular as any other way to get around town. So
now I just want to emphasize that even though this House Bonding Committee has in their request this bike trail, it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
That's true. This is just the first hurdle. So they put it into it as a recommendation at this point. And so it needs to go a little bit further, and then we won't know probably until the bonding committee gets done if they approve it, or if it's when they come in. I'm assuming there are a lot more bonding requests than there is funding.
Oh yeah.
And so something has to get cut. Hopefully it's not our project, but we won't know that until we get much closer to the end of their bonding session.
What kind of dollars are we requesting here?
The Milltowns is looking at approximately, I believe it's $650,000, and I believe the Northern Links Trail is $710,000.
Does the city have to match that?
No, through the bonding, it would be, the entire funding would come from the legislative committee. Now, the one good news we have, if they do pass it next spring, we do have some funding left from the North Alexander Trail that we can only use for that section of trail, but in working with the DNR, we may be able to take some of the leftover funds there instead of returning them to the DNR, just to work with the bonding funds, and then when the entire project's done, then we would return to the DNR any leftover funds on that. So
because that box culvert's going to be pretty spendy.
That part we're anticipating being pretty spendy, and part of the reason that is we don't really have any control over that part of the trail. When it gets constructed, the railroad will do all of the work on that.
Oh.
They'll take because they'll have to that close their section of railroad. They'll have to dig the culvert in, put the culvert in place, and then build it all back up. And for liability purposes, they do the work themselves versus having a separate outside contractor come in and do that. So that way, if there's any issues with any future trains or anything like that, it falls all back as part of their responsibility. So I think it's a smart move that way. You'd hate to have that liability sitting on you.
Right. I don't know how many trains go over that area.
It's not a lot, and they're not fast moving, but they do go back and forth. There's several a week anyhow that go through there, so it does get used.
Huh. I'll be darned. I haven't seen it.
Yep.
I
think if you're in the park long enough during the days and stuff, you'll see the trains. Usually an engine and about 2 cars at a time that'll come through. So even when it does go across, it's not there for a long time. So
yeah,
you got to be in the right place at the right time to see them come through.
Not their huge trains.
They're not huge trains. They don't go on for hours.
No, transporting cars to various places.
Correct. Yep.
Paul Panofsky again is with us from Parks and Recreation. A couple of things we probably did not touch on last time you were here in the Buckham Bulletin, because there's so much in here, Paul.
There is a lot in here.
So you were going to jot down a couple of notes on what you wanted to get the word out on?
Yeah, there's a couple of upcoming things here coming up. Through our swimming pool, the indoor pool there, we've got swimming lessons starting on November 3rd, so there's one last chance to get signed up for those before the holidays hit here. You get another session in, and we also have a lifeguarding class coming up over Christmas vacation, so the 26th, 27th, and 29th of December. So if there's anybody out there that's 15 years of age and they're interested in becoming a lifeguard, here's an opportunity for you to get in and get that done, and it shouldn't have a lot of impact with school because you'll be out of school during that time. So great time to go in and spend a couple of days and get certified with that.
Are you always in need of those?
We're always in need. That's the one thing with as busy as kids' schedules are, we hire as many different lifeguards as we can, and then they're actually busy, so we have to try and work around some of their schedules. A number of our guards are athletes and are involved in a lot of other different school activities, and so it takes a little bit of work to keep that going. So we're always looking for people, and I know that there's other kids out there from other communities where other communities are looking for them too, and they're actually willing to drive to Faribault and take the classes. So anytime we can get a class out there, we try and advertise it and get as many students into it as possible there. So
show you how desperate they are for coaches. I've been approached a few times about, being a youth coach.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's how desperate they are for coaches.
I think just about everywhere is really looking for volunteers and stuff out there. There's a lot of people who's participate in a lot of different programs, and we're always looking for volunteers to assist with all those different types of programs.
And it would be fun, but it just doesn't fit into my schedule.
Right. You'd have to give up some of your announcing games probably, and I'm guessing that that probably won't happen.
No.
So. A couple of other things coming up. One of the things we're looking at for in December, we've been working with the Village Theater, and we don't have the titles yet, but on the 5th and the 12th of December, the Park and Rec Department and the Village Theater are going together, and we're going to be showing a couple of holiday movies that'll be free for the public. So they'll need to register at the community center online. And there's no cost to doing it, but we got a couple of free movies, and we just want to see if we can fill the house there a couple of times. It's a new great venue in town here for us, and so we've been working with Steve McDonough over there, and he's pretty excited to work with us on this particular one here. So we'll get a couple of movies in and be doing that. So we're happy to see that that's coming. Time to start signing up also for Biddy basketball. Biddy doesn't really start till January, but now's the time to get signed up and get yourself going with that. And then we also, again, over the holidays, have ourselves a swim and gym day where you can come and bring your kids for the entire day. So on the 29th, the swimming pool and the gymnasium are kind of closed off to the public, and we usually have about 70 to 80 kids that come in and spend the day there playing games and activities and all kinds of stuff. So it's a fun day at the community center with that. Also, our group exercise, they've changed their name. They are now the Faribault Fitness Club, and they've added a couple of new classes, some body shred classes, and a couple of other types of classes. So we encourage people to go to the City of Faribault website, look at the schedule. We keep a monthly schedule on there, and then go up to Washington. All their classes are held at Washington. So one thing I heard on TV this week is between now and January 1st, approximately 40% of us adds a number of pounds to our systems.
No, you're kidding,
so
really?
It starts with our Halloween candy, and it works its way all the way through New Year's. So great time to think about trying to get a little bit ahead of that. So between our Faribault Fitness Club and our yoga and Pilates classes, our fitness facility, We just encourage people to get out and get yourself active a little bit. You know, we've got water exercise, water Zumba classes, so a lot of different drop-in type classes, and we just encourage people to come and see what we've got to offer. We've got a lot of different opportunities and stuff out there, so I think that's pretty good with that. And with the drop-in stuff, there's always open gyms, racquetball, lap swimming, open swims, you know, just get out of the house and find something fun to do. So we're opportunities for that. And also, if you like to dance, we've got a ballroom dance class coming up beginning on November 8th. So get out there, and that's also held up at Washington on Sunday afternoons. And it's a great way to learn some new dance moves, and or if you've got a wedding coming up in your house, you know, great way to learn some of those things. We get a lot of people that's the reason that they come and take the dance classes is they know they've got a wedding coming up sometime in the next 9 to 12 months, and so they'll sign up and start learning a few moves so they feel comfortable with what's going on out there.
Wow.
And then we've also got our bigger special event that's coming up at the Buckham Center. We do have our hometown holiday that'll be coming on Monday, December 7th. So we've got Santa coming to town. He'll be coming and riding in on the fire truck again, and we'll have a number of activities between the library, the community center, and the senior center. All three organizations are working together on that one.
It's Pearl Harbor Day, isn't it?
I believe it is. Yes, it is. So that's the way the days worked and stuff for us. We always have that event, or we typically have that event on the first Monday in December, and that's the first Monday in December this year. So that's kind of our list of all the different things we've got available here coming up. Just, you know, keep an eye on the Buckham Bulletin. There'll actually be another Buckham Bulletin coming out here in the next probably 3 weeks or so. It comes out usually 3 to 4 weeks. Comes out mid to late November, and it'll have everything from about mid-December all the way through the end of February into early March in that. So get a lot of information, and then we'll already be looking at the summer of 2016 programming already. So
isn't that something?
We get a lot out there. Something else that we're doing, actually coming up this week, if you're a pickleball player, we're having our first pickleball tournament in town on Saturday. It's going to be out at the Armed Forces Reserve Center, and we're working with the Minnesota Park and Recreation Association. They're actually the organizers of it. But you can contact us if you'd like some information to get into it, or if you just want to go out and watch. But they'll be doing that this coming Saturday out at the Armed Forces Reserve Center. So kind of exciting to have our first pickleball tournament. As popular as that particular program has been at the community center, it's going to be interesting to see how many people sign up to play in a tournament. So
It's becoming more popular in other spots too, I understand.
Oh yeah, yep. It's actually one of the fastest growing sports in the United States right now, and it's extremely popular. It's part of the reason being is it works both for all age groups. It can be a fast moving game, yet it's not. You work up a good sweat on it, but it doesn't tear you down all the way. So you play at your ability levels out there. But it's kind of a combination of like tennis and ping pong. You play with it with a wiffle ball, so the ball doesn't go too fast, but yet you can still hit a wiffle ball with some pretty good velocity and hit that thing across the net. So you're chasing the ball around quite a bit. So, but it's a fun time. In fact, this morning when I came over here, we had some people that were just doing some drop-in and playing. So they were just having some fun with that, and we enjoy having them come in and play Actually, we see them probably almost every day of the week anymore at the community center.
Paul Polowski is the Executive Director of the Faribault Parks and Recreation Department. And if you have any questions about anything Paul talks about today, what's your number down there?
The number at the community center is 507-334-2064. Other thing too, if you're looking for a facility to rent for any kind of thing between the Washington Recreation Center and the community center, we have a lot of rental space. So we can work out a lot of different events. We have anything from baby showers and bridal showers. We have all kinds of different family gatherings. The facilities have worked out well in the past. We've even got a number of groups that rent the community center during the winter time and play indoor soccer in the gym. So, if you've got something where you're looking for a larger space, or just even needing some classroom space or birthday parties, contact us, and we might have the space which keeps some of that from being in your house.
I was just going to say, then you don't have to clean up in your house.
Yeah. We do ask you to clean up when you're done with so that you leave the facility the way that you came with it and
Right.
stuff. But beyond that, it's nice to have a larger facility where you can just spread yourself out and use some of the amenities there. We have a lot of birthday parties that they use the Peterson room at the community center, and then the kids go swimming. So it's kind of a double bonus. You wear the kids down a little bit, so they're a little bit more tired after they've been doing that for a day. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Again, the number to call if you want to reserve one of these spots.
507-334-2064.
334-2064.
Yep.
Got some other things to cover here in the last couple minutes?
You know, just, the last big community event that I've got on my calendar that we're doing a lot with is the turkey trot. So I know that that's coming up on Thanksgiving morning. So I would assume that if you want to get into that, you'll need to register soon for that. That actually is through Iris.
Yeah.
So that won't be with us. But it is an event that we work with them because they're out on the trail system. And depending on the year, a couple of years ago, we had to go out. We had a huge ice storm like the day before. And so our staff was out there just wrapping up their cleanup, probably just minutes before the event started. We're sanding and salting everything down so that it's safe for everybody out there. And we've had extremely cold years, and we've had some really nice years and stuff with that. So that's a big event coming up here as well too.
Yep, Diana Sunwall was with us here not too long ago. We talked about it. They've had every possible weather on that day.
They really have, and they haven't been doing it for that long.
No, beautiful warm days. They've had ice storm, like you said. They've had snow. They've had really cold.
Yep. They've had just about everything there. So I guess the last thing I'd encourage people to do is if you haven't been out to the City of Faribault's new website, go out to that website. There's a lot of information on that. There's a lot of ways that you can sign up for an area called Notify Me. So anytime something changes in a specific area, you'll get an automatic notification. So if you want to sign up for city council agendas, you can get those automatically. If you want to sign up for different park and recreation updates, you can sign up for those. If you want to sign up for library events, there's always a lot of programs going on over at the library as well too. You can sign up for those particular events. And then anytime something changes on the website, you get an automatic notification. So I would go out and try and use the website as much as you can, get yourself notified. Sign up. There's also notifications for snow emergencies. This time of year, if you haven't done that, get out and do that through the Everbridge program and make sure that you're getting notified every time something comes up. So, I hate to see you getting a ticket for not having your car off the streets on some of those snow emergency days. So this is a great way to get a text so you're not having to watch the news all the time to see what's coming up with that.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate you stopping in.
You're welcome.
Paul Panofsky, the Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Faribault. That's today's edition of AM Minnesota.